Hey guys, welcome back. Guess what we're going to talk about today? That's right, more cell stuff, but not what you think this time. But quick, before we get to what we need to talk about today, let's do a little bit of review. So far this week, we've been talking about animal cells and plant cells, all of their different parts, the nucleus being the brain of the cell membranes being the skin of the cell, vacuole being storage places, ribosomes making proteins, lysosomes digesting things, Golgi bodies packaging things, endoplasmic reticulum moving things. All of this stuff going on in animal cells. And then we got the plant cell stuff. Plant cells have chloroplasts that contain chlorophyll so they can make their own food because they're a autotroph. We've got an extra cell wall giving the plant cell its rigidity around the side of it, giving it more of a rectangle, square shape. Okay, you can see the diagrams in front of you, how they are extremely similar and yet subtle differences between them. Okay, today we're going to talk about a little different stuff. And it's very important that you know all of the definitions for the cell organelles that we've been talking about all week. Okay, you will be quizzed on it, so make sure you know them. All right. Now, what we're going to talk about today is how cells have different types of transport. Okay. Now, the first word you have to know is the word diffusion. Okay. Diffusion is the movement of a material from one area that's really crowded to another area that's less crowded. Okay. It's kind of like if everybody was in the classroom right now and I packed everybody into the corner really, really tight. It's uncomfortable. You don't like it. You don't want to be elbow to elbow with people. They sweat, they smell, it's gross. You want to spread out along the classroom as much as you can. Think about it. Most people, when they come into the classroom the first time, where do they go? They go to the back of the room. They spread out as much as they can. Okay, I get you want to be away from the teacher, but everybody kind of spreads out. Being too close is uncomfortable. Well, it happens the same for molecules. They want to spread out equally. Okay, now when they do spread out equally, this is what's known as an equilibrium. So you can hear the word equal and equilibrium kind of sound similar. So you see the word equal here in purple, equilibrium here in red. Now, this can happen in many different ways within the cell. We'll talk about those different ways it happens in the cell, but just make sure you know the word diffusion means to move from an area where it's really crowded to where it's not so crowded. Think of it this way, another example. Somebody takes some body spray and sprays it in the corner of a room, or some air freshener and sprays it in the corner of a room. Does it stay there? No. It spreads out throughout the room. Eventually, you're going to be able to smell whatever was sprayed on the other side of the room. That's a simple way to understand diffusion. Now, within the cell, there's two different types of transport that move materials throughout the cell membrane. There's something called passive transport, and there's something called active transport. Now, the word transport just means to move. Now, think of the word passive. If you're a passive person, are you constantly raising your hand to answer questions in class, or are you kind of just sitting back, letting things happen? Are you, arguing with people to get your point across in a respectful way? Or are you just kind of sitting back, watching the conversation happen and discussing things in a more chill kind of manner? That's what passive transport means. Transport means kind of moving things through the membrane without the use of energy. Okay? It happens very simply. You don't need energy in order for it to happen. Now think of the word active. I'm very active. I gotta go. I gotta move. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. That takes a lot of energy. Okay? I know I can be one of those people. I'm very active in my life. I need a lot of energy. I use a lot of energy. I gotta go. Well, this also happens within the cell membrane. Okay, the cell membrane sometimes allows things to happen very passively, and sometimes very actively. Okay, and using a lot of energy, depending on what it needs to move through the cell membrane. All right, so that's a kind of an analogy in order to remember the difference between passive transport and active transport through the cell membrane, which remember is the skin of the cell. There's also this thing called osmosis. Osmosis is the movement of water through the cell, okay? And that's all it is. It's the same thing as diffusion, okay? Water molecules sometimes are smaller than other molecules, and they can move through the cell. You can see this line here that's acting as a cell membrane. The blue molecules are small enough to move through. The big green sugar molecules are not, okay? This picture over here, his name is Osmosis Jones. Old school movie. I highly recommend it. It's funny. It's educational. You guys will love it. Your parents probably have seen it. All right. Until next time, I'll see you later.